Howdy, my name is Stephanie Lastovica Marburger, and this is my ALEX 630 Module 1 activity. A little bit about me. I just recently married my husband Bracken about a month ago. In the top left corner, you'll see a picture of my beautiful, wonderful family. And down below it, you'll see my beautiful friends and bridesmaids who were in our wedding. Over to the left, you'll see the screenshot of the Progressive Cattleman magazine cover. I do some freelance writing for this publication, and my article was just recently on the cover of the magazine in the July issue this past summer, so that was quite an honor. And down below that, you'll see a picture of an Angus heifer that I recently took for some of our sale heifers that are going to be available last fall. And livestock photography is a hobby and a passion of mine. So my youth will give you an introduction to my personal experiences with youth at risk. I don't have a lot of experiences, but I'll share the experiences that I have with you all. My brother and I were lucky to grow up in a loving Christian-based home with strong family support, and that support extended from grandparents through all the way down through our extended family. This is typically what it was like for most students enrolled in Salado ISD, but that's not what it was like for all students, and I'll share my experiences with that a little bit later on. I grew up in a small Central Texas town called Salado, Texas. Our town focuses on tourism. We are located right down the I-35 corridor, about 45 minutes from Waco and about 45 minutes from Austin, so we're very centrally located. Here I'll talk about my youth risk experiences. So some obstacles during my youth. I was a very involved and active student in high school, and during that time, one thing that students really didn't know about me was my learning disability. And during this time of Salado ISD, being a student there, my students would often send me to a learning lab, what was referred to as Grand Central Station. Some of you might be familiar with that from your high school. During my time at Grand Central Station, I would go there for a quiet place to take my test, maybe work on a couple homework assignments if need be. I would be allowed to interact with a couple of my classmates that I might not know as well as others, and their reasoning for being in Grand Central Station would be for the same learning support that maybe I needed, but also for the fact that they weren't also getting that extra help at home that I was on my homework from my parents, and they maybe had some other challenges going on at home that I wasn't having to deal with, and that might have been impacting their learning. And so that made me have a really great respect for them because they always showed up to school with a smile on their face, ready to learn, and always happy and positive and nice to each other. And that was just one thing that I wasn't having to deal with on the side was family issues, but maybe some of these students were. So I gained a lot of respect for them, and I also gained a friendship in them. And together we worked on whatever academic challenges we were going through together. So that was nice. Some people refer to this learning disability as a obstacle. I saw it as a blessing and not a curse. So during my junior year of high school, I started at a new school called Holland ISD, and this is where I saw a little bit more of my at-risk students as well. I actually encountered one of my friends becoming pregnant during that time. She was a fellow classmate of mine in Holland. That was something I had never really dealt with at Salado ISD. Another thing that I really dealt with at Holland High School was the students using drugs. And at Salado ISD, if you knew of a classmate that was using drugs, you were not to talk about it, not to bring it up, not to even act like you knew that they were using drugs. Whereas in Holland, they really kind of used it as a learning tool, and the kids would talk about it in class, and it wasn't something that the teachers were proud to hear about, but they would, maybe take a time, maybe take a teaching moment and say, this isn't good for you to be doing, and here's why, and then obviously have to have a formal, proper procedure conversation about that issue later on in the semester, but that wasn't something that we had to deal with. Anyways, so those are just my instances with at-risk youth. I really learned a great deal from the two schools that I went to, because it was like two different worlds, and I think that was due to the dynamics of the two towns, excuse me. So, like I said, I think that was just really interesting, and so I learned a lot from those two things. But as far as having a great deal of being with at-risk students, I don't necessarily say that I definitely fall into that category. Where I am today, so the things that really kept me from being one of those students who maybe was using illegal substances or doing or partaking in underage activities was because I had goals and I had the family support that maybe some of my other classmates didn't. And my goals were I grew up showing livestock all across the United States, specifically Angus heifers and all breed steers, and I was very active in cheerleading, and I wanted to go to Texas A&M. So I set a goal for myself to get into A&M when I was in high school, and I am blessed enough to be able to be graduating with 2 degrees from there. So I was able to stay driven on these goals and with the support of my family. And I think one challenge being an older sibling that I'm seeing is the rise of technology. And so I'm seeing how these students are just being taunted with negative images in this world. And it's almost like that's okay to be doing these things, and it's not okay. But I just wanted to say I really enjoyed what we learned from Module 1 and look forward to the rest of the semester. Thanks and gig 'em.